Welcome back to the show. It is a delight for me to welcome Mike McGuff to the podcast today because it has been years and years and years since we've had a chance to sit down and talk. Mike used to work at KXXV News Channel 25. I don't remember what we used to call it then. It's changed its brand so many different times
Oh, see,
over the
it's
years.
always going to be News 25
As
to
News
me. Always
25 for
News
you. Well,
25.
we even have a little snippet of video of you anchoring. You were our weekend anchor.
I filled in, and it was actually I was going to stay and do that, but then I ended up going to Houston. That was when I left, but I would have actually wanted to stay here. It just didn't work out in the cards that way
Right,
for me.
right. And what year was that? You're gonna have to
Oh,
help
I
me.
left in 2001.
Okay, so oh wow, all right, that was a long time ago.
I mean, Waco was formed me as far as broadcasting because I started
Sure.
off on when 107.1 KWBU was the Baylor
Hmm.
student
Hmm.
station where we all got to get behind the mic for the first time and enjoy, having a radio station at our disposal, which was the coolest thing when you're, 18, 19 years old to be able to, pretty much do whatever you want on the radio
Right.
within FCC
Of
regulation, of course.
course, you have to
And
mind your manners.
absolutely. But yeah, that was an incredible time. And then starting out here, we started actually the same year. I mean, you were new to television. I was new to television as your studio camera operator. And so we were all learning it
Wow,
together, I guess.
I know.
And shout out to Ray Peters, of course,
My
who,
co-anchor at
who
the time, he was so long suffering because I was a longtime radio gal. I mean, I worked for many years in radio, but yeah, there was quite a bit of a learning curve when you jump to television because you've got the whole visual thing going on too.
absolutely. Well, I have a friend who I worked with in Houston who was a longtime TV anchor, Sheriff Fryer. She moved to radio,
Uh-huh.
and she, also said the same thing. It's so different that there was a learning curve, even though she'd been in
Really, yeah.
television for decades.
Hmm.
Having to get into radio was just different.
Yeah, I know that name. I've heard that. And it's because what you have done in the last many years is is chronicle and cover broadcasting in the state of Texas. So how did that all kind of happen for you? Is that something you were imagining it would become what it has and you've been
No.
doing this? Um, it's really your thing.
Yeah, it's been 20 years. And it just started off as blogging was something new. And I thought it would be fun to do just because, when you work in television, you can pitch stories, but, there might not be a boss who is interested in everything you
Hmm.
pitch. So
Right.
I thought, well, that's fun. I can just cover whatever I want on my own blog.
Hmm.
And I was in kind of a technical job at Channel 13 KTRK in Houston. I figured they
Okay.
would start blogging, which they eventually did. So I thought I'll get on it early and learn it, and then I can set it up for the station, which ended up happening. But I realized that I've always just been fascinated by broadcasting. I mean, that's why I got in it in the first place. I think once you're bitten by the bug, it never lets go because I did my first TV appearance in Houston in 1987 on Good Morning Houston
Oh, really?
as a kid. Yeah, in elementary, representing my elementary school. So I think once I saw that,
Oh.
you're so excited by everything.
Hmm.
And so it always fascinated me. And I started blogging and more covering media, radio, television, and it just started taking off. And this was the time when the newspapers were getting rid of the TV writers. So suddenly there was a
Right.
big void all of a sudden. And
Yeah.
I realized that as people left around Texas, I just start covering more of Texas, not just Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Waco. I mean, I cover Central Texas a lot. I mean, I still kind of have a fondness, obviously, for the stations here and know
Yeah.
the players. And now, John Walling's son, who was the sports anchor we worked with, his son is now at KCEN Channel 6. So we're
Oh,
watching the
that's
the
great.
new generation come up
I
here.
know. I remember when he was born. I gave the baby shower when
I am not
when Brenda
surprised by that.
when Brenda was expecting him. So yeah, yeah, we have these deep roots in local television, and there's a lot of movement. I mean, there it is an industry where you just don't expect to have someone come and stay an anchor for 25 years. But in my case,
Absolutely.
this was my home, so I wasn't looking to move up the ladder, to go to a bigger market and to, be a bigger fish.
Well, I mean, I think that's so important that someone like you stays in the community,
Yeah.
someone who's from the community. People already knew who you were from radio,
Yeah.
and you get a chance to stay here and, you become such an important figure. I mean, when you wanted me to come up here, I was like, I am not going to do this over Zoom. I want to
Well, yeah,
be
I
here
wanted to.
in person.
Right, you're in Houston. You live in Houston, and so I get that. And but I was just so glad that you could. And when you let me know, yes, I'm going to be in Waco, and isn't it fun up here?
Well,
I
when
still kind of pinch myself that we get to come up here on the 21st floor of the Alico building.
absolutely, when you have Ann Harder calling you and you're going to get to go to the top of the Alico
Hey.
building, you drive the 2.5 hours to be here.
Oh goodness. Well, and what's important to me is I made your blog. I made your writing when the podcast was changing this last iteration to the Ann Harder show
Oh,
back in
absolutely.
June. I was just so honored that you did that.
Oh yeah, and it got picked up in TV News Check, one of the big TV trades because they'll
Really?
publish a lot of what I do. So yeah, I mean, Ann Harder, you're a legend here, and
Well, this is the new media. We are a part of the new media. So let's talk about where things have gone from when we were both, at 25 back in the early 2000s. For me through 2020 is when I retired. So much has changed about how local news departments operate and just everything.
well, like you said, back then people did stay longer at
Hmm.
stations here. I mean, think Rusty Garrett
Oh
was
yeah,
here
yeah,
for a very Gordon Collier
right.
still on the air. But that has started changing so much, including Houston. I mean, no one left in Houston. It was hard to get into Houston if you wanted to be on air because people stayed there for decades as
Yeah,
reporters, anchors, meteorologists. That's changing. You can be in Houston actually within a couple jobs, maybe one job, and
yeah.
because there are always people leaving. The business is changing. There's a lot of consolidation. It's been made in the headlines that Nexstar, a TV company, is buying Tegna, and they're
Right.
both giant companies. Nexstar, based up in Dallas, is one of the biggest in the country, but Tegna also is a big station, and they own
Hmm.
two stations right here in Central
Here in Central
Texas.
Texas,
So,
Channel 6.
and Fox 44.
And okay.
Fox 44 is the Nexstar station. So Fox 44 will, I guess, in a way take over 6, but I'm sure they'll figure out some way to go together into a studio somewhere. I assume they'll go to KCN, but I don't
You know
know.
what? Because they just built something
I think
in
they have a
in
bigger
Temple.
studio,
Yeah.
I'm guessing. So,
Yeah. The Fox studios are pretty small. They're on Highway 84. Mention personalities though, and KTRK, Samika Knight,
oh
who
yeah.
I worked with at 25, and of course watching her career. She's from Houston though,
Yep.
so working in Houston was her dream. This is where I want to be, and it's just delightful for me to see her make that happen. And although she went to Pennsylvania, I mean she kind of made the rounds like you do. But yeah, now she's morning anchor and just doing great.
Yeah, number one show. And in fact,
Yeah.
Samika was our intern. So when I was working there, Samika was one of our interns, and I actually do remember her because I was in the consumer department at that time, and
Hmm.
she would go out with us on stories occasionally. So yeah, my friend Jeff Ealing, who is the reporter, the consumer reporter, now an anchor at 13, said, always be nice to the interns because they could be your boss one day. And he's not wrong.
He is not wrong. He's not wrong. Well, so that's a lovely story. I adore Samika, and now she's got two little boys. I mean, of course, and that's the other thing about social media and Facebook, how you can keep up with people.
Oh,
Well, like the
absolutely.
Wallings that you mentioned. Um, and Ray Peters, still as you mentioned, Ray, my former co-anchor, he has the funniest posts because he's a sports guy at heart,
Absolutely.
and his comments about I will just laugh out loud at stuff that he'll put on Facebook. But
I
you
agree.
know,
I think I maybe interact with Ray too much because he shows up in my feed. I think every post I get, because you're right. You watch him on a weekend when football's happening on Saturday and Sunday. It is going to be funny. There is no doubt about it.
oh, he'll have an opinion
He
for
does have an
sure.
opinion. I mean, I wish he would get a
I
podcast, and he
know.
has been on a Texas podcast,
Hmm.
and that one actually folded, no fault of Ray's, but it was a shame that it went away because he had some really interesting takes, and I was blogging about him too, of
Hmm.
course. And
Hmm.
I was getting a lot of people looking up Ray Peters, and they still do, and they'll find those old posts. Unfortunately, the video is no longer there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what has surprised you maybe the most about, let's start with radio, because I'm, as you say, old time radio gal, and I love radio. Radio is where I did fall in love with the broadcasting business, and it does just get in your blood, and it was so much fun. I had so much fun. Did not make hardly any money
Right.
at all, but I sure had a good time every day going to work.
Radio was, I enjoyed college radio so much. And when I was leaving Baylor, that was a part when deregulation was
Yeah,
happening. And
right.
people in Dallas were warning me, don't go into radio because, you're really supposed to work on the night shift when you're the young person.
Sure.
And those shifts are going away because they were going to voice track them and
They were
automate them.
automating everything.
So it's really weird. Where is that next generation?
Hmm.
They are there, but there's not as many new generation needed anymore
Hmm.
because a lot of it is just so much voice tracked or just totally maybe without a DJ now in some cases.
Or if it is, it's done by somebody in New York, some
Sure.
big name person, and it's like the local element to it is what I think is so bad that's taken out of it though, because used to, if you heard an ambulance, you could turn on WACO and find out where the wreck was. I mean, it was that kind of immediate local coverage. Um, so switching to television, uh, that is kind of the last bastion of local news for folks,
Sure.
is what the
Absolutely.
TV stations are doing.
Absolutely. And, it's getting harder for them because, they're reducing staff.
Yeah.
Technology, just like we just talked about in radio, is now affecting television.
Hmm.
So you don't need to have as many people at a station anymore because technology is taking those jobs. And they're also, with social media, are more demands on reporters and anchors. You used to have time to just focus on your one story.
Hmm.
And those days are gone because you're going
Oh
to have
yeah.
to feed the beast. You have to feed Facebook. You have to feed YouTube, whatever they want you doing. You have to be provide Instagram. You have to be providing
And
that.
people are used to more round the clock news. It's not anymore, oh, I've got to sit down at 5:30 in the national newscast and 6 o'clock local newscast to see what's going on, because your watch is giving you little buzz bulletins all day long on
Absolutely.
breaking news all day, all day. Yeah.
And think about that when we were working. I mean, the evening newscasts were so important. It was
Oh
the
yeah.
the time
Oh.
people sat down and caught up on the day's news because they
Hmm.
couldn't monitor it like that back then.
Yeah.
And now what's happening is the evening shows are less important. The morning shows are actually the more important shows for
Hmm.
TV stations. Just because people still have to get up and they still want to turn on and kind of wake up and watch weather and traffic and hear
Weather
what
is the
happened.
thing. They still need to know, how am I
Sure.
going to dress the kids for school today? So
Sure.
what do I need? What do I need to know about the weather? What did I miss overnight? But yeah, those, and we saw that all through my quarter of a century career. That sounds weird to say that, but it's true. But our consultants would come in, and all along we could see just the viewership for those later newscasts was going down, down,
Sure.
down. And now with, with all the streaming and all the things that you can see, that 10 o'clock newscast was not high on people's list. They were in the middle of watching some murder mystery or something.
Sure. Netflix is,
Yeah,
Netflix or whatever streaming service is your big competitor for
yeah.
local news now. And think about it. I mean, when you and Ray were the anchors, you were the face of the station.
Hmm.
There were promos for you all the time. You did
Billboards, remember the
billboard.
billboards?
Oh, absolutely. And now I think what you see, and I'm sure it's the same here, is mostly you see the morning crews
Yeah.
being promoted throughout the day now. And they're the ones that are kind of
Hmm.
the faces of the station
Hmm.
now.
Yeah, and in fact, I think of Karen Borda was Karen King when she worked at KCEN a long time ago, and then she was like a main primetime
Hmm.
anchor and moved to that morning slot because she could see the writing on the wall. I guess she's still working, isn't she?
She is still there like in the afternoons. And I didn't
Oh, is
even,
she now doing afternoons?
they
Because
kind
you.
of moved her off, but I
Hmm.
think to a later period in the day. But I didn't actually realize she was from Waco or
Her
had worked
name,
here.
yeah.
I
Well,
didn't
she
know
worked
that.
at 6. I don't know where she was
Yeah,
from, but she
that's
was Karen
interesting.
King.
A
Yeah,
lot of Dallas
I
people
know.
have ties to Waco.
Yeah.
A lot of them there now
Yeah,
have
well,
definitely worked
and
there.
it was kind of a starter market, if you will. But so much more I want to talk about. I want to get into your work with the Alzheimer's Association, your long association and concern about Alzheimer's disease. A lot I want to talk to Mike McGuff about, but stay with us. There's more of the show ahead, and I will tell you today's show is brought to you by Gather and Co., where we transform houses into homes. Stay with us.
With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today.
If your home's feeling a bit dated or you're dreaming of that beautiful outdoor oasis, I have got the team for you. Gather and Co., the family-owned remodeling pros right here in Greater Waco since 1998. Led by the Falconberry family, they specialize in stunning kitchen and bathroom makeovers. Think custom walk-in showers, sleek cabinetry, and aging-in-place upgrades for easy living. They also nail outdoor spaces with pergolas, patio covers, sunrooms, and screen rooms that turn your backyard into a year-round retreat. What sets them apart? Personalized designs, top-notch craftsmanship, and a hassle-free process for free in-home consultations to spot-on completion, plus financing options to make it simple. Customers love them, raving about the friendly crew and attention to every detail. Ready to gather in your dream home? Call Gather & Co. today, 254-759-1147 for a no-obligation quote. Visit GatherCoRemodeling.com. Your remodel starts here.
Another sad song, another long night, just dreaming about you. Time to wake up, start my day off, and dust off these blues. 'Cause I'm tired of living in a shadow. Yes, I'm tired of being the one so shallow. Do you even care that I'm leaving? Do you even care that you're losing? Well, it's not on me, not my problem, not today. I'm waking up fresh, learning how to walk away, to find myself, 'cause you were never meant for me. And I know that now, not my problem, not today. I'm blocking you out, out, out. Another long day, another memory, I'm just trying to get through all the chaos and the pain that you put me through. 'Cause I'm tired of picking up those pieces of a house that you keep on breaking. Do you even care that you're drowning? The garden we had blooming, well, it's not on me, not my problem, not today. I'm waking up fresh, learning how to walk away, to find myself, 'cause you were never meant for me. And I know that now, not my problem, not today. I'm blocking you out, out, yeah. Do you even care that you're killing? Oh no, that future we were building, well, it's not on me and not my problem, not today. I'm waking up fresh, learning how to walk away, to find myself, 'cause you were never meant for me. And I know that now, not my problem, not today. I'm blocking you out, out. Thank you to the Zach Owen Show for having me on. I really appreciate you guys. My name is Lyda. You can catch me on all streaming platforms and find me on all social media. Thank you so much.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated. Each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
You can't trust everybody, but you can trust Rogue Media Network for all of your podcasting needs. From recording to distribution, we've got your back, even if I didn't have his.
Welcome to Market XLS, your all-in-one Excel solution for investors. Designed as an enterprise-grade platform, Market XLS caters to investment managers, secure and efficient investment management and research. Book your free demo.
And we are back with Mike McGuff, who is well known across the state of Texas when it comes to keeping everyone up to date on any happenings in the radio and television field.
I try.
Well, you do a fabulous job with it. And we've been talking about all the changes that we've seen locally in television news and in radio as well. But you did a documentary. I want you to tell me about the Rock 101 documentary.
Yes.
It was called Runaway Radio.
Runaway
Tell me
Radio.
about that.
14 years in the making. I actually started in 2010 and never thought it would take 14 years, obviously. And I
Now that's a labor of love.
It was a labor of love. And certainly in March of 2020, something happened that kind of shut down the world.
I know.
That
was my first month of retirement.
That's right. I remember you definitely
what
got
happened.
out at the right
I know.
time.
It's
You have
all
perfect
in the
timing.
timing.
Absolutely.
All in the timing.
That movie was supposed to come out in 2020 because
Yeah.
that would have been a big anniversary for when the station had been on the air in
Yeah.
1970. Didn't work out. So 14 years, but it was a fun project, if not nerve-wracking at times, because what it covers is a station in Houston that had been on the air from 1970 to 2004, and it was one of the early FM stations in Houston, a rock station. It started off as the progressive rock station, play whatever the DJs wanted. They could play
Yeah.
a whole side of the album and come back and play the next side. Of course, it formatted and became more of a just what you think of a normal rock station, but it was a wild rock station. They had a lot of artists, musicians come through. They did television shows. They did billboards. They even put a billboard in Dallas, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
They would do things just to get attention. And I was able to interview, it was actually Dusty Hill from ZZ Top's, probably his last on-camera interview, because we interviewed him right before COVID, and he passed away within a couple years while they were touring, and I don't think he had done any interviews. We were lucky to get Houston's own Lyle Lovett in the piece.
Oh,
which
man.
He's a great
He
guy.
performed with Waco Symphony, just brought the house down.
Oh,
he
he's
was
great.
awesome.
I have now seen him several times with his big band, or
Yeah.
his large band, and he's great. It's so exciting to see him. And he's a true Texas gem. And also I got Sammy Hagar from Van Halen. So, and there were others that we worked hard, and it would sometimes take years to try to get people at this level.
Sounds like
to
kind of a
sit down.
Ken Burns-esque approach
Sort of,
to
yeah.
documenting the station.
Absolutely. And,
Yeah.
and what it also covers, I was telling someone today, is that it really does cover the change in radio. Why is radio different? It's
Yeah.
dressed up in, this fun, wild rock station. But the real story is why radio changed. And it's the 1996 Telecom Act, when they loosened the ownership rules and companies could buy more stations. That was exactly what we just talked about
Right.
before. Same thing. So a lot of people wondered, why aren't there, formats that I like on anymore? And that kind of is the reason. So that the movie answers that question, but then it just has a lot of extra fun. So if anyone from Houston from that time of KLOL days, is watching this, I think you'll enjoy it. It's on Tubi now streaming.
Okay,
So,
good.
and we just played in Houston in October.
Right. You had kind of a premiere, big red carpet,
Well,
kind of an event.
this was actually, we premiered at Alamo Draft House in March of 2024.
Okay.
And we have screened around Houston.
It was a screening.
And
Yeah.
so we'll have, kind of screenings once a
Yeah.
year. And River Oaks Theater is a theater
Right.
that was built in 1939. and
Iconic theater.
it
in
is. It's a
Houston,
great
yeah.
theater. It's been redone. It's
Uh-huh.
beautiful, and it's really fun to play there just because it has a great cinema history. That's where director Richard Linklater, who is has been in Houston now out of Austin, but he used to sit there as a young guy and watch films there. And he and Wes Anderson, another director from Houston, really helped. They were a big group of people who helped save that theater from the wrecking ball, honestly.
Oh, that's cool. But what you did first part of October is it was a fundraiser, was it not? Something for Alzheimer's Association. Let's talk about that, which is kind of a quite a turn for us from talking about radio and TV. But really, it was your mom's diagnosis that led you to go back to Houston.
Absolutely.
When you did. Yeah.
And when you talked about earlier that I would have stayed in Waco, I would have
Mhm.
stayed in
Yeah.
Waco and continued to work. It was at that point that was kind of a secret that I was keeping, is my mom had been diagnosed really with younger onset Alzheimer's at age 53. This
Wow.
is right when I actually even started back with Channel 25. I was a producer at that point, editor. And I knew that I needed to get a foothold in the industry, and she could still live by herself.
Mhm.
But
She was kind of managing.
at that point, you could
Right.
see I would go home as much almost every weekend,
Yeah.
and I could see her. She was falling down in terms of what she could do,
Mhm.
and it was apparent that I had to be there. So
Right.
here I am at age 24. Would have loved to stay here. Worked at 25. I was lucky enough to get a job at Channel 13 behind the scenes as a producer, sort of doing what I was doing here, but I was an off-air reporter working for the
Yeah.
likes of Dave Ward, legendary
I
anchor, and
know.
all these anchors.
Yeah.
I got a chance to work with Marvin Zindler, who,
And
of
so
course-
you were there after Bruce Geetson was there.
yes,
Who, of course, I co-anchored with for 13 years. And of course, he has lots of great stories about Marvin Zindler.
oh,
and
absolutely. And Bruce
Jay
was there
Ward.
in one of the greatest periods
Yeah.
of that station
Yeah,
when
yeah,
they were
for sure.
unstoppable. It was
Yeah.
just a ratings juggernaut at that point. But I my mom, it was apparent I had to get back home, which I did.
Mhm.
And it was a tough road. And so she was diagnosed at age 53, and by age 58, she passed away. That younger onset is just a terrible thing for the person going through it. Very fast moving compared to someone who might get the diagnosis later in life, in their
Mhm.
80s.
Mhm.
And it was a horrific thing to witness. And I don't wish that upon anyone. And for a long time, I didn't want to think about Alzheimer's. And I went to an event in Houston and met someone from the association who was wearing the name tag. I said, "Oh, my mom passed away."
Yeah.
They said, "We could use someone like you who kind of has this platform
Mhm.
to talk about this." So I started off working as an ambassador for the 7th Congressional District, where I met with my representative, and I have now, I have met, one was unelected, with a new one came in. So I have gone to DC to visit them and met with them. And it's right now it's Congresswoman Lizzie Fletcher, but it's really, it's interesting. It's given me a lot back, as much as I try to give it different experiences. I never thought I would be going to Capitol Hill
Yeah.
to talk about Alzheimer's. I have testified at the state capitol in Austin, and that different memory centers, the staffs have more training, and as far as all parts of the staff, all levels, so that when they deal with someone who has dementia, they have that extra hour of training that will give them kind of a way to deal with them in the proper manner, because it is
Yeah.
different.
Oh yeah, no, it is. And of course, Alzheimer's is its own thing, but there are like 50 different forms of dementia. There's all kinds of
Absolutely.
forms of dementia,
And they're all terrible.
it's all terrible. My mom suffered with a form of it. A failure to adjust. I mean, on other things, she could remember things better than I can. I mean, she was really sharp on a lot of things, and I could just kind of redirect her if she'd kind of go off on a tangent. Oh, look at that shiny object, or how about
Sure.
those cowboys? I mean, and she could just kind of turn on a dime, but. Yeah, it's very hard on the caregiver too.
Absolutely.
To know how to respond, because they're not in their right mind.
No,
They're
no.
not thinking
There's
straight.
no way to reason with them,
No,
and you
oh,
can't
no.
find the right thing to say that will make
No.
it better, unfortunately. But I do know what you mean. Exactly. You
Yeah.
have to learn how to navigate the situation, not to upset them. And, I remember going to like, restaurants, and, she would look perfectly normal, but would not be able to fully order the meal. She could walk in and say hello and sit down and give the pleasantries, and you would have no idea anything was wrong. And then here I am, this young guy, and I'm sitting there ordering for her, and the waiter or waitress would look at me like, how overbearing is this kid, But it's something that
Yeah.
had to be done. It just
Yeah.
couldn't work any other way,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, there might be some misunderstanding about Alzheimer's because, I mean, it is a brain disease, but it can affect really your bodily organs. I mean, that's what the death, comes
Absolutely.
from.
My mom, towards the end had stopped eating,
Mm.
was like forgetting how to function in a sense,
Right.
is what her doctors were telling me.
Mhm.
And that was definitely the most horrific time, I was having to be there. I had to take leave from work and watch her overnight when she was already in a memory care facility. But, there was only so much they could do, especially
no.
back then.
Right.
Things have improved now, but this was back in 2004 and 5 when this was
Mhm.
happening. And, that then it was still a lot of questions about Alzheimer's. And she was on medication that when I started back volunteering for the association in 2018, that people were still on. Things had not progressed in that
Right.
entire time. However, now we are starting to see breakthroughs in different forms of therapy, in blood test detection for the disease.
Mhm.
I'm on the board of the Houston Alzheimer's Association chapter. We have people from the Texas Medical Center on the board with me. These are scientists,
Mhm.
neurologists, and they were not super excited about the way things were going. But within the last few years, you are seeing a glimmer of hope. They are excited in our meetings, telling us the new things that are happening.
Yeah, even getting word there might be a cure.
I don't know if we'll see it in our lifetime. I wish we would,
I
but
hope.
that is something we can definitely pray and hope for. But I would at least any way to stop the progression.
Mhm.
If we could slow it down, I think that's the great first step.
Yeah.
To totally eradicate it would be unbelievable.
Yeah.
But the Alzheimer's Association is, in the scheme of things, compared to the Heart Association and Cancer Society, is a younger group, right? It's only really, I think, been around since 1980. So it's made a lot of progress in the short amount of time it's been around, but there's just a lot of work to do.
Mhm. Now, I know there is coming up in the November election, Proposition 14, which deals with the state establishing a fund for supporting Alzheimer's.
We
Your
have
thoughts
already,
on that?
absolutely. So, the legislature has already passed us that, which is going to be like a dementia statewide program for research. So already you have the Texas Medical Center in Houston getting ready with their researchers to start working with this. There's already been a cancer one that has gone well. So what we have to do as voters, if you want this to happen, you will go and vote yes for Proposition 14.
Mhm.
If you want to see the funding now given to the program, because it's established, it just doesn't have the funding. But that's how politics work. We
Right.
have to gradually work through the system.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, everybody always do your research on any of these things. But yeah,
Absolutely.
it is a disease that affects so many people, and as the population is aging, and that's a good thing, we're moving on up, but
But the numbers are
the
increasing.
numbers are increasing in the number of people that are being diagnosed with these kinds of
Absolutely.
things.
And it's hard for the private sector to even keep up with
Yeah.
it fully. It's something that the private sector, when you look at dollars and cents, might not even be something that necessarily it can handle all by itself.
Mhm.
Of course, all the groups will be working together in this case. And I pray that this would be a
Yeah.
much better outcome, and hopefully we really see advancement.
Yeah. Well, tell me about your family.
Well, I am actually also here. Well, we actually came strictly for the Ann Harder show, but
Oh,
my
I
my
am so honored.
my
I'm
my
just thrilled to see you.
we
but-
worked in a visit to Baylor since
Yeah.
my wife and I both met at Baylor,
Uh-huh.
and we are alum.
Yeah.
And so my son, who's a junior in high school, is at the school right now attending an engineering. That's not television, not journalism, engineering, which
Yeah.
maybe is the smarter way to go, right? Maybe I
Yeah.
shouldn't encourage him, but I'll encourage him to go into engineering. But so he's looking at that right now. So we might
Good.
have another future Baylor Bear
Oh,
from the McGuff family. So.
that'll be good. And so you'll be up here more.
And I'll have him come to your house. You'll have to
Hey,
take
he
care of
can
him
come.
first.
He can come. I'll feed him.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be happy to do
We'll
that.
put him to work on the Ann Harder
I
show.
just can't imagine how old it makes me feel that you've got a kid that I'm thinking you're going to tell me, oh, he's in the 4th grade.
Well, I do have a 14-year-old.
Okay, all right.
So
Okay.
he's back in Houston in high school right now. So
Well, they do grow up. They do grow up, and life.
we can't
just-
stop it, can we?
No, we can't. We can't. We want them to flourish, and it would just be great to have a couple more Baylor Bears from.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're all excited to have more people from Houston come to Waco, but
Yeah.
you know, that's how it is. There's so many Houstonians and Dallasites and DFW
Yeah.
people coming here all the time. And strangely enough, Californians, a lot of
lot of 'em.
Californians, you see a lot of California plates in Waco.
Mhm,
And then, you know, I think the change, watching Waco change from when I was here to now with the
I was going to say, what
silos
do you
and-
think about that?
It's
Of course, the silo's
unbelievable.
visible right out the window, but
Absolutely. I mean, at
Yeah.
least we know Alico will always be here and always the same. And you know, we had to go to Paparolo's Pizza last night. The
Oh,
first thing
gosh.
we went when we got into
did they
town.
still show the old movies?
That was still there. The Our Gang shows
Yeah.
were still running, just like always. Nothing had changed.
Nothing had changed.
The pizza's slightly different, but still delicious. So
The duties, they're still doing a great job there with Paparolos. Well, it is just delightful to get to catch up with you, and always love reading your blog to see who's moved where. Some of the people, I don't know who they are, but I'm thinking, well, you know, God's blessings on you. Go and make your way at another TV station or broadcast facility. But you know, the business is changing. It really is changing, and it's a thrill for me to be a part of the new media. I would never have dreamed when I retired from 25 that I'd be doing this here 5.5 years later.
I think it makes a lot of sense actually when I saw that you were doing it, because who better to do this than someone who knows everyone in town, has all the connections, goes to the social events.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, you know, you are like the oral recorder of history, you know, for Waco. And I think that's fantastic. I mean, who would have ever thought it would lead to, you know, the
I know.
changes? I mean, you know, I have to give a shout out to Will Carney, and I both started together.
Oh,
with
I
you.
still follow him on Facebook
And-
too.
and
And
we-
his kids are growing up.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah. His
everybody's-
daughter is looking at colleges too, same age as mine.
I know.
But we are, you know, we start off as camera operators for you now.
I
I mean,
know.
generally all those there are no camera
They
operators.
don't do
They're
it.
robotics.
Yes, right. The camera just
They
floats
just
around.
move
Yeah.
by themselves. And that's why you see sometimes weird shots as the camera's spinning around, but that's the reason. It's not a person back there spinning the camera on purpose.
Well, I did have a delightful time though with the general manager / news director Justin Burton was here, and Charles Molyneux, who's, of course, he came up from Houston, but he had worked CNN business. I mean, he's
Sure.
he big time
Yeah,
guy.
absolutely.
Got a kid at Baylor, and so he is just fully on board with the neighborhood reporter, which is what we were talking about. How if a local station is going to really meet the need of a community, they've got to be in the neighborhoods, meeting people, and then telling their stories.
I think for a market like this one, absolutely,
Yeah.
you should have people spread out. Waco,
Yeah.
Temple, Killeen. I think that in Houston is such a large landmass to cover.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see why they don't put reporters in different sectors of, you know, far out on the city,
Let's
and
kind
just
of give them a beat.
never
like that,
have
yeah.
them come to the station. But it doesn't work that way. But
Yeah.
I think it would be better. I think you'd be more rooted in that community and
Mm-hmm.
break stories, and you'd always be there for breaking news, which is a big part of television in Houston, especially.
Well, yes, and of course, then that's the thing with these things. Our citizen journalists are just becoming better and better at it. Just the other day, there was a fire. Somebody, I'm just scrolling through Facebook. Oh, this is on I-35, in Belmead. And then the next thing I know, there's a video. They're driving right by it. You can see everything. Oh, the fire trucks haven't even gotten here yet. I said, now, I was telling my granddaughters, I was showing them, now, this is what citizen journalism is all about. And how I immediately knew what the picture looked like. What didn't have to wait until a newscast
And what's
to see it,
interesting,
if it would even make the newscast.
if it made it. And what's
Yeah.
interesting, we all have these, 4K televisions now, the very, very high definition. Yet, if you think about what you're talking about, news is now, especially television news, citizen journalism,
Yeah.
people recording with a phone or your doorbell cameras or
Oh,
security footage.
yeah.
That's mostly what it's so funny. We have these great TVs now, and mostly we're watching security footage. A lot of, isn't that the way it is, though? That's what
Yes,
I've
it is.
noticed, you know.
Absolutely. Well, I have just thoroughly enjoyed our visit, but I like to end these little talks with a sort of a questionnaire, similar to the one the late great James Lipton used on
Oh,
Inside the
right.
Actors Studio. So I'm going to ask you these questions as my take on it. What is your favorite word, since you're a wordsmith?
Wow, that's interesting. I mean, I think technology, because technology in what I'm doing, I'm literally blogging. I
Yeah.
have this documentary, and we're literally using AI to make the video sharper, especially old archives.
Yeah.
So technology for me, that it plays such a role. And it's basically our whole conversation today essentially has been about technology.
Right. Least favorite word?
Least favorite word. Wow, that's a tough one. I guess anything where, cannot maybe,
Okay.
because my wife is was joking today with my son. Here's a guy, she's talking about me, where I said, I'm just going to go make this documentary and I'm going to try to, film these rock stars that are hard to get. And then I ended up, she's like, then you won an award doing this. So I guess I didn't think about that, but I guess cannot is something that I don't really subscribe to.
Right, right. What turns you on creatively, then
Oh,
emotionally or spiritually?
I think honestly, like I'm doing a lot of video now for
Are you?
people, and I just did a church video, and watching that back, it's for a stewardship program, but I get very excited when you watch that final edit, and sometimes I just watch my stuff over and over, and I'm always looking for little errors, but
Right.
when you finally get it perfect, that is a great feeling that you
Mhm.
cannot get anywhere else. There is such like just that creative excitement and endorphins released in your body
Yeah.
when you're like, wow, that's really exciting, and I hope this helps.
Yeah, that's what I envisioned. That's what I wanted to see. What turns you off then, creatively or spiritually or emotionally?
I think honestly, I don't always do well with the type of middle managers that maybe are telling you cannot. When you work in television, I
Yeah.
ran into that a lot, where you have some ideas. Now, were all my ideas good? No. And you do need someone to kind of pull you back in and
Mhm.
get you grounded. But there's at times I think that we would pitch ideas or concepts and it'd be shot down just because it hadn't been done before.
Mhm.
But I think that's what the industry is kind of lacking now, is a sense of adventure and pioneering spirit, because everything looks quite a bit alike now. In fact, most newscasts between markets used to have identity and flavor. You had a Marvin Zindler in Houston,
Oh,
you
yeah.
had a Dale Hansen in
Eyewitness
Dallas,
news. Yeah.
and Rusty Garrett here, and you
Mhm.
don't have, everything kind of is the
Yeah.
same everywhere
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. What is your favorite sound?
What is my favorite sound? Wow. Actually, I kind of like hearing thunder, as
Mhm.
long as long as we're not in breaking severe weather. But the
Yeah.
sound is exciting when you hear it, and there's not in Houston a hurricane coming or something like that.
Yeah.
Around here, the tornadoes are
Yeah.
the big concern. But I think just a nice thunderstorm
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Of course, we got SpaceX
Oh
in
yeah.
McGregor, and sometimes like, was that thunder or was that SpaceX?
Now you're
We
like,
don't.
what are these
Yeah.
fireballs and what are these different things in the sky,
Yeah.
right?
Or it's like, oh, could this mean it will rain? That would be good too. So what is your least favorite sound then?
Least favorite sound. Maybe someone actually telling me no kind of goes back to the cannot,
Yeah.
because in the course of my documentary and the course of even in television news, you get told no a lot. You ask for a lot of
Yeah.
interviews, you have to you're sent out and have to ask tough questions to people. And in the course of the documentary, we went through so many times trying to get interviews, and you heard a lot of no's, but you just have to work through it and get
Yeah.
past it.
Yeah. What job would you like to have tried or maybe still want to try?
That's a good question. Definitely, I think there was always an interest and maybe it's because of the Brady Bunch with Mike Brady, but being an architect
Yeah.
always kind of interested me. I remember sitting there as a kid after school, a little kid, just drawing structures, drawing buildings, designing things. But for whatever reason, like I said, the media got a hold of me and I lost interest in that. But I always wonder, I mean, that's a very creative endeavor.
Yeah.
And I think that could have been very interesting.
What job do you know you don't want? No thanks.
Mathematician. That my wife is an economist. She loves math. That is never something. And we joked in television, if we were good at math, we wouldn't be working in television. Because I can tell you, even in Houston, a lot of times we'd be doing these stories, we'd start getting calls from the people who maybe were NASA scientists or research in the medical center, like, that story doesn't make sense. I'm not saying these were my stories. Maybe sometimes they were.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'd get calls and like, that does not add up. And we'd be like, okay, well, back then, we didn't have social media necessarily, so you could just
you
kind
could
of
get raked over the coals
yeah,
on social
now
media.
it'd be a different story.
Oh, for sure. Oh, man. So one last question. When you get to the pearly gates, what do you want to hear the Lord say to you, Mike McGuff?
Welcome home. I think that would be what I want to hear.
Yeah. Well, it has been a delight to get to catch up with you again. And again, I always look forward to what you have to write. And folks can find your material about television, radio happenings in Texas. Where?
MikeMcGuff.com, or just search my name, Mike McGuff, in Google. You will find everything about me.
And your documentary too.
That is at rock101movie.com, or type in Runaway Radio, because it's streaming on Tubi and other services, and you can buy it on DVD.
I'm going to go watch it later today for sure. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stay with us. There is more of the show ahead. A big thank you to our sponsor, Fox & Co. Bakery. Check them out for delicious baked goods and your catering needs.
It's football season, and we can create your outdoor tailgating spaces that is actually a part of your home. Bifold doors that tie in the inside and the outside, and you can gain anywhere from 1,000 to 5,000 square feet living space, all while taking in the big game, poolside. Call us at Gather & Co. Kitchen and Bath, where we can create your unique tailgating space.
Serving Central Texas since 1889, TFNB Your Bank for Life takes pride in being more than a bank. At TFNB, we remain committed to these principles. If you value them too, come join us. TFNB, Your Bank for Life.
American Bank of Waco is hosting a trunk or treat on Tuesday, October 28th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. in the parking lot of their Belmead branch. They had a wonderful community turnout last year, and they are all so excited to see you again. Waco PAC is presenting the Rocky Horror Picture Show Shadowcast on October 31st. You can join Wild Imaginings on Halloween night for an electrifying shadowcast of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, featuring an interactive performance with audience participation and a vibrant show that brings the cult classic to life. Finally, you can hit up Startup Waco for the meetup every Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., and it is a wonderful chance to hear from local business leaders and get some networking with professionals done around town. I'm Elizabeth Riley with your Act Locally Waco News, and I will see you next time.
Just ahead on News 25 Weekend, area college students work together to help create a home for a family in need. Meanwhile, local lawyers get involved in a community program designed to teach youngsters about their profession. And one local organization spends their day keeping Waco beautiful. News 25 Weekend starts now.
KXXV TV is News 25. Coverage you can count on for all of Central Texas. This is News 25 Weekend.
A rainy day won't keep area students away from helping others. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Michael McGuff. Paula Carey has the day off. Well, I'm glad to see that warmer temperatures are coming back.
Yes, it's starting to feel like spring, but this is a little reminder that this is only the beginning of spring.
All right, thanks, Jennifer. Coming up at 10 on the Night Beat, we'll tell you why area Native American students are throwing a powwow in Waco, and one local family will soon become homeowners thanks to a group of area college students. That's tonight at 10 on the Night Beat. Coming up next, two of this year's NCAA Final Four punch their tickets for Minneapolis, and Baylor's football spring practice draws to a close with the annual spring game. Cliff has that next in sports.
Bubble wasn't here. I don't know what people would be doing, like making PowerPoints or something. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
Ronnie worked the Waffle House, had the third shift, had a body in his truck, he had yet to deal with salt.
It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro.
But boy, it looked effortless.
Man, watch this.
Layups, floaters, threes. He was like an unsolvable equation.
I was born like this.
His resilience, his strength, his belief, adversity never stood a chance.
Know your power.
We offer fast shipping, exceptional customer support, and furniture solutions that stand up to high traffic environment. Elevate your space with BizChair's vast selection of stylish, reliable, and cost-effective furniture. Visit us today at bizchair.com to transform your business. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. That's INTERNXT.com today. Unlock a world of convenience with Mullybox, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. Each box is tailored to your taste. Mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com.
So all you have to do is tap your Popple to the back of someone's phone, like that, and they instantly get your social media and contact info right on the screen. They don't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. So get your Popple today and start impressing everyone you meet. Make it pop.
Break. I need some freedom. He wasn't my escape, and honey, I adored him, but now I'm all alone trying to figure it out. Do I ever cross your mind? Are you missing me right now? I've been thinking about you, just thinking about the way we used to smile. I've been dreaming about you. I haven't really seen you in a while. I've been missing all of you. Yeah, I'm missing all the ways we used to love. Well, I've been thinking about you. Just thinking about you, baby. Oh, I packed a box full of trinkets. I drove out west so I could burn it. All of our memories up in flames. 'Cause it's time to move on, it's time for change. Well, I still think about you, just thinking about the way we used to smile. I still dream about you. I haven't really seen you in a while. I've been missing all of you. Yeah, missing all the ways we used to love. Well, I've been thinking about you, just thinking about you, baby. Oh. It's time to move on, that's easier said than done. Holding on, been holding on, I don't wanna let you go. Do you think about about me? Just think about the way we used to smile. Do you dream about me? I haven't really seen you in a while. Are you missing all of me? Yeah, missing all the ways we used to touch. 'Cause I've been thinking about you. Just thinking about you, baby. Oh, oh. And that's a brand new original song called Thinking About You. It's out on every streaming platform you can find it. Just look for Lyda Music and Thinking About You and it'll pop right up.
At Covers and All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
VivoSun's mission is to empower growers with stylish and effective products, making indoor growing accessible and enjoyable for everyone. Visit vivosun.com today and get started making growing plants and vegetables easy and automatic.
With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Cowboy, they make you out to be a bad guy. Skipping towns like tumbleweeds here for the night, but then you leave. Cowboy, you won't commit and you don't hardly try. Burning hearts like wildfires, embers dancing in your eyes. And you couldn't even care less. But I know who you are when you take off that hat. And how you feel when you climb into bed. It's a stereotype that some men get. But the realest, truest, deepest cowboy is the one you are when I'm dancing in your arms and you spin me out on a sawdust floor. It's the same feeling that I get when you show up over and over again. Oh, cowboy, cowboy, you try to act like you're a tough guy, but you got a heart of gold. You can't hide it, boy. I know who you are when you take off that hat. And how you feel when you climb into bed. It's a stereotype that some men get. But the realest, truest, deepest cowboy is the one you are when I'm dancing in your arms and you spin me out on some sawdust floor. It's the same feeling that I get when you show up over and over again. Oh, cowboy, oh, cowboy, who you are when you take off that hat. And how you feel when you climb into bed. It's a stereotype that some men get. But the realest, truest, deepest cowboy is the one you are when I'm dancing in your arms and you spin me out on some sawdust floor. It's the same feeling that I get when you show up over and over again. Oh, cowboy,